Hey guys, Cotton Grammar here. If this is your first time ever at an OMG webinar, this is omgmachines.com. Tell you a little bit about us. We are a factory that produces and makes millionaires online. We do it through digital marketing agencies, through search engine optimization, through e-commerce, through Amazon, through a number of different ways. But this is a new webinar series that we have decided to do, and it's called OMG Machines Mindset. And it's to get your mind in the right position. And tonight we're going to talk about 8 habits to a six-figure a month income. And that's exactly where everybody wants to be. Very few people can achieve making $100,000 a month. It is less than 1%, even smaller than that of the population, actually makes that amount of money. So, what are some of the habits? And the good thing about tonight is you've got Fletch and I wanted Fletch on this webinar with me. Fletch and I share the same passion for we love motivation. I was raised with motivation. I've read hundreds and hundreds of books about motivation. I literally let it drive me. I mean, if I wouldn't have had a great foundation set of all the great people that I've read in front of me, I would be way off course with a lot of stuff. But want to introduce you to Fletch, and he's going to tell you a little bit about himself and what motivation means to him.
Yeah, for me, when I got, it's kind of a weird thing with the kind of rapid transition that can occur when you really, sink yourself into a new way of life. You're going to experience change very quickly. Certainly in a lot of ways that you didn't expect, and in a lot of directions you didn't expect. And just having gone through it recently, especially with what I've experienced in OMG, and just kind of adopting a new way of life and a new way to make an income and have an impact on the world. Having kind of walked these steps in the way I have, I want to help facilitate that for people. So yeah, it certainly didn't start with OMG. I've always tried to better myself in one way or another, but for whatever reason, it just didn't quite get traction
Mm-hmm.
until quite recently. So, kind of having the background in it, and then, experiencing it recently, especially financially. Um, yeah, there's a lot that I have to say on the subject, and yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I just appreciate the opportunity to help our people out in any way I can. So, always fun to jump on live with these things, whether they're, the different types of webinars we've run just in the last week have been pretty crazy. So, one like this where we actually, get to kind of focus on one subject is pretty cool.
Absolutely. Guys, I want to let you know before we get started that we're going to be in the OMG way. If you are not in the OMG way, uh, I will go ahead and I will put that link right here for every one of you in the chat box right here for you to go, because I know that we have a lot of first time people on here, especially from the last week. We should have about 150 new members in OMG. So I know that this is a lot of your first time here. What we're going to do here is what we do is guys, we really want a lot of participation on this one. This could be a webinar series that we can continue into 2016 if there's a lot of support for it. And, maybe once a month. We can't promise it once a week. But we love participation. We love you seeing the participation on the screen. So if you're with us, just give me hashtag with you right here. Just simple enough. We've got hundreds of people on right now right here, hashtag with you, so everyone can see this is live where we're going to be, so you can follow us. And it's going to be on the very first post that's pinned up there. So as you can see, we're live, and we love participation. We love seeing that sort of stuff. And we're going to get started here shortly. And guys, be ready. Keep it on this page, because we're going to be asking you questions, getting your opinions, and getting your support as we move through these 8 habits. One of the first things that I would like to say is, as you can see that everything's rolling in here, is that for one, we really go by a very strict code, and that we live by, we've been there, we've done that, now you go there and do that. So what I'm trying to tell you is Fletch earns over $100,000 a month. I earn over $600,000 a month. So we're two people that are actually living and breathing it. We are not trying to pretend. We are not trying to, and we're going to go through a lot of these habits through here. So you're actually learning from people that are actually doing it, not people that are pretending that they're doing it. And I've used this analogy before. They're a lot like travel agents. They send you to a lot of places that they've never been before. That's not what we're doing. These traits, Fletch and I implement these in our lives. They're very important to us. And hopefully, I have a very good, strong feeling that if you use any of these particular traits, if you lack one of them, by just instilling one of these traits, one of these habits, I think that it can absolutely blow your business up and get an entire different mindset of how you can take the knowledge in OMG. Because, guys, here's the fact about it. This is just it. One of it is this: we have the right information. We have the best coaches. We've got Fletch, Stephen Floyd. We've got Liz Herrera, Joe Marfolio. You've got Gregory Ortiz, Derek Owasiak, Mike Pierce. We've got all these guys, Greg Morrison. I'm not trying to live on anyone. You've got people behind the scenes, David Mills, Mike Long, that are banging it out for us. And what I'm telling you is you have every piece of information for you to make six figures a month. The only thing that you don't have at this point is the mindset. And that's what we're going to go through tonight. So tonight we're going to start. Hopefully it'll be a webinar series that we can continue for you guys on many different subjects. But it's going to be the 8 habits of a six-figure a month earner. We're just going to dive right into it and start with the first one. The first one is simply this. Guys, you got to believe in the impossible. If you are in OMG, or if you are in anywhere in any part of your life, if you don't believe in the impossible, you've already failed before you've started. And you say, well, Kotton, what do you mean by that? Well, it's simple. People that believe in the impossible inspire other people, whether it be your children, whether it be your wife, whether it be your girlfriend, whether it be someone around you. And that's something that every OMG coach and everyone inside of OMG, we try to instill this in the core of who they are, is to believe the impossible. Because if you can't believe you can hit 6 figures a month, you never will. The old true saying is, whatever comes out of your mouth is generally true. If you're sitting here right now trying to grasp it being a hard time, hitting $10,000 a month, then it is. One of the things that really helped me fluid up my mental mindset when I first got into OMG is that I would always visualize and always feel good about it, breaking these barriers, being at $100,000 a month. What would it feel like? I would sit there and I'd close my eyes. I'd say, what does it feel like? I'd stand there. And, I can remember the first 3 months in OMG, my first goal was literally to be a speaker at OMG Live. That's what I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do. And, man, I felt it. I closed my eyes. I seen everyone sitting there. I seen myself talking, inspiring people, doing that. That, when it happened, I felt like it was meant to be. It was comfortable. I wasn't shocked because I'd already lived it in my own mind. And guys, if you can't believe in the impossible for yourself, that's the first step in getting to 6 figures a month. You've got to believe. Matter of fact, you should believe that you can hit 7 figures a month. What does it feel like? Because if you can't take yourself and act like someone that's making billions, what would they act like? They certainly wouldn't act like what you're acting like right now. So you've got to believe in the impossible, believe you can do it, and then you've got to try to become it. Think about it. You own a $100 million agency. What does your day look like? Would you be doing it any differently? Would you wake up at a different time? Would you eat differently? Would you treat people differently? Would your whole day be different? Well, why wouldn't you do that right now? I do that every day. It's very important to me. I wouldn't live my life any more different today than I did whether I was making $1 billion a year. A few things would get changed, but ultimately, I'd be living the same way. So ask yourself this: if there's changes that you can make right now to help you believe in the impossible, it's because you've never allowed your mind to stretch that far, to know what it would feel like to be in that position in those shoes. Then when you do, it's easier to achieve, and your mind will connect the dots to create the path past every obstacle to get there. So, Fletch, I'm going to turn it over to you. Believe in the impossible. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, Cotton. It's actually when you sent this list over to me, I read through it real quick and I was like, oh yeah, that's on point. That's these are absolutely what you need to think about really to get to that level. But then my mind immediately went back and it looked at each of these points more in depth. And with this first one, um, it took me. It was kind of a couple different things. It's kind of a paradox of situations. One was that I knew I needed to accomplish something with online marketing that I'd never experienced before, as far as income goes and all that kind of thing. But the other cool thing was that I actually had never had this knowledge. I'd never taken action based on the knowledge I had. I'd never had people around me that would show me the way or that would, facilitate the correct steps to making it all connect. But then the other thing was that like impossible for me really was like that was the word that really just was like it was sitting there and it was hard to get around. Impossible is impossible. And what I started to realize was that it's this word that when you put it in your vocabulary, it creates a block that you really can't ever get around. And so for me, what I did, what I realized that I had done was to really say, you know what, based on what I'd done and what I'd known before I found OMG or before I had decided to just really make of my life what it should be, there were things that were never going to happen. I realized that there were obstacles that were never going to be overcome. There were, just an ease of life and a contribution that I never would have been able to do. But with new knowledge and with new habits and with new connections and with new mindsets and with new networking partners and things like that, those are variables that change really what you can accomplish. And so I guess I kind of started realizing very quickly, very early, is that when you start changing those fundamental variables, impossible gets defined differently, and I realized that I don't know. I absolutely 100% agree that for people who are starting this, they need to say, wait, I do think that's impossible. I need to address the fact that my mind says that that's something I cannot accomplish. But it's so easy to get around that when you realize what knowledge, what experience, what pathways you can follow that other people have blazed that simply work, that you can just follow. You don't have to go out and go into new areas necessarily to get to that level where you've really got a lot more options available to you, and you've already broken through every ceiling that would have been limiting, in the life that you lived up to this point. I really kind of just there was a thing. I think it came from Anthony Robbins. I listened to one of his things a long time ago, and it may not have too. I actually can't remember, but it boiled down to this, and it said something to the effect where just say, okay, I'm gonna put off believing that for a while. Okay, maybe it is impossible, but I'm not even gonna think about that for 6 months, and then I'll revisit it, and I can tell myself whether it's impossible or not. So, um, with that first point, it's absolutely true that you have no idea what you're capable of, especially with this new knowledge, with the new people you're around, all that kind of thing. Impossible is based on a set of criteria that are defined up to the point where you gain new knowledge, you gain new mindsets, new insight, and all that kind of thing. So, for me, that impossible, that changes every time you get new knowledge. And with OMG, it's a whole new knowledge base. So that changes every time you change your knowledge.
Sure. It's great stuff. Guys, I want you to break everything that you thought was impossible. I believe, because I've broken it. Fletch has broken past it. It was impossible for us 2-3 years ago to dream about making $100,000 a month. If you believe it's possible, even if you don't, by start to saying it, it becomes it. Whatever you start to say over and over again, you start to believe. There's only one person in the world that can change your mind, and that's you, by you saying it. I want you to put hashtag possible. And I want you to start saying it's possible to hit $100,000 a month. It's possible. Because if you don't believe that it's possible, then it's impossible. So we'll wait, and all the possibles are flooding in right here. It's good stuff, guys. Everyone should participate. Remember, when you asked us what we do every morning when we wake up, some mornings I got to look in the mirror and I got to say, you got this. Anything's possible. You can always do the impossible. And by saying that, I start to believe it. Sometimes you're your only fan. You're your only cheerleader. You're the only person that can pat yourself on the back. And I don't really need that from a lot of people. But if I don't believe it myself, I can't expect to get it from other people. So they're coming in, Fletch. You can see everyone's banging out the possible. So that's good stuff. So,
Oh yeah.
So guys,
Oh yeah.
remember, believe the impossible. And we're going to move to step number 2. Oh, hold on. Got a little technical difficulty there. So we will hold on. So the next one is, guys, and this is a very, very, very powerful one. Guys, you must do what others refuse to do. Working with a lot of people in OMG, I feel gifted. I feel gifted that I've had a chance to meet thousands and thousands of people through going out on OMG Live, the OMG, the Assimilation Tour, OMG Live, through OMG Machines, and through the community and everywhere that I've been, live events. I've been able to have a lot of people and run into it. And the number one thing that I hear from people is they'll ask me for my honest, heartfelt advice. They'll say, Kotton, what's the fastest way to make money online? And I'll simply tell them client SEO. The next response out of their mouth is, oh, I don't want to do that. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to talk to people. How can I, just go and, just not put on clothes and just sit in my pajamas and make $100,000 a month? Well, good luck with that, because there's very few people that are capable of doing that by not getting out of the house to make their millions. So I've talked to several other people that I coach, or people that I mentor, and they basically try to find ways of getting out of things that they don't want to do. And guys, here's the thing. No matter what task you have in front of you, no matter what it is, when you don't like it, don't be that person that tries to prove yourself right. So if you get a tactic that someone is making millions of dollars with, and you hear it and you go, I don't want to do that. Listen, there's worse things you could be doing. Trust me. Talking to people is not torture. It isn't. But when they say, "Well, I don't want to do that, but I'll do it anyway." And you know what you do? Ultimately, I hear back from this person and they'll say, "I tried and it just didn't work." Well, of course it didn't. You wanted to prove yourself right. That's just it. I like seeing one of the most powerful things posted in a Facebook group, and this guy hated, absolutely hated calling about clients in SEO, calling about clients for sales, and just said, Cotton, I can't get motivated by it. I don't know how to do it. I just can't. I just can't pick up the phone. But guess what? iPhone 6S came out. And you know what? He spent about 3 hours on the phone wrangling down, acting like the best salesperson in the world, trying to procure him an iPhone 6S because he didn't want to wait in line. But you see, let me tell you the difference, because he wanted something. So it all comes down is you must do what others refuse to do, which means is you've got to get in and get dirty to get the money at first. That's what I had to do. I had to do things that I despise. If you think that I like cold calling, I didn't. If you think that I like going door to door on businesses in the beginning, I did not. I had to do what others refused to do. And if you want to sit and ask other people how they've achieved their success, let's go to Gregory Ortiz. The guy was working 40 to 50 hours a week, and he would wake up at 2 a.m. to do SEO from 2 to 5, get on a subway, listen to OMG videos on his iPhone, get off at 10 o'clock at night. He could have slept, watch videos coming back, and did that for months until he got to where he's at. Now he's at $100,000 a month. He did what others refused to do. That's what he done. We could go from story to story to story, how people have had to do uncomfortable things. And you want to know what? They gave it their best, and they smiled, and they tried their hardest deep down in their heart to enjoy it instead of trying to be right. Because that's what I hear from a lot of people when they're told what to do. Here's how you go get the money. Well, all right. Then they'll go do it, and they'll half do it. They won't give 100%. Guys, everything about becoming a six-figure earner is doing it and doing it better than everyone else. Not just doing what others refuse to do, but doing it better than anyone else with everything you got. So the next time you ask yourself, why aren't I making, I hear a lot of people go, I'm tired of seeing all these people post all these income reports, like inside of all the Facebook groups. They're making 10,000 a month, 15 and 20 and 30, and I'm not doing all this. What have you done that others have refused to do? Because if you really just look at it, either one, they got struck by lightning, and that's the only couple clients they're going to get. But remember, there's a big difference to all this, and I want you to remember this. There's people that get struck by lightning, and there's people that can harness lightning. And the people that harness it do what others refuse to do consistently, and they learn to become great at it. Believe it or not, guys, I don't like being in the spotlight, and I don't like being out in public. OMG Live was very painful for me. I don't like being in front of crowds like that. I don't like speaking in front of crowds like that. But you know what? I bucked it up. And I did what others refused to do because I got good at it. I don't generally like it, but now I don't dislike it. So the next time that you turn your nose up to something, and when someone that's making just crazy amounts more money than you tells you the formula, I wouldn't turn your nose up at it. I would sit down and have a long conversation with yourself. What are you willing to do that others refuse to do to get there? And if you've got a set of criteria of what you are and aren't willing to do that's legal, that's not embarrassing. Now, we're not telling you to do anything illegal, anything that's going to embarrass you, or anything that would make you look horrible inside your own community. It's all within just going out and talking to business owners, going to networking and doing all this other stuff. Well, how is that torture? Well, we're not asking you to go out and kill babies, to go out and beat baby seals. And no, I'm not doing that. So remember, must do what others refuse to do. Fletch, turn it over to you.
Yeah, this is a big one for me. I mean, really, having been involved with getting to talk on these webinars now for quite a while, on a weekly basis with coaching and training and stuff, and just with kind of having a position in OMG where people ask me questions, it's something I get a lot, and people ask me exactly what you alluded to, Kotton, which was, hey, what's the fastest way to do this, or what did you do? And we followed different paths. As I certainly didn't come from the background you did. Having learned from you, I absolutely agree with what you've talked about as far as the fastest way to get to earning a good living. But even before that and since then, I can attest to the fact that I did what I did and I got where I am. And I told people I built 50 money websites and ranked them, and people were like, oh, well, do you think maybe I could build 5 and I could get there? And I said, well, maybe, I don't know, but I know I built 50 and I got good at building money websites and ranking them. And and then people asked me, well, what did you do to earn income? And I said, well, I took a job on Elance, making $20 an hour doing on-page SEO setup and optimization. Oh, well, maybe I could sell that client base. And I'm like, well, yeah, maybe you could, I don't know, but I know that what I did got me where I am. And then people ask me, well, did you sell local clients? And I said, yeah, what I did, I went out and I sold like packages of leads. I'd sold 10 leads for insulation and for window replacement and for solar water heaters, like in these packages, like 10 leads. I didn't even have a website that ranked. I didn't have anything that ranked, but I needed money, and I knew I had enough pride in my word that I would find a way to make it work. And I had watched the fact that Craig could rank sites and showed us exactly how to do it, and I said, okay, I can just do that, but I got to have money today, so I'm going to go out and sell these things today. Then I'm going to work on getting the thing delivered over time. And people say, well, that works for you, but I don't feel comfortable doing that. I want to have something that ranks. I want to prove it to myself, and this, and I get it. I get the fact that people want to follow their own path, and I can't tell them not to, but the thing is that you joined OMG to ask people who made this work in a pretty big way what they did to get where they are. And I'm not ever going to speculate. I believe in everybody, and I think there's a lot of different ways to get success and to make your way in the world, and especially in online marketing. There's a lot of things that are just not, they're not set in stone as far as the only way to get there. But if you ask me what I did, I'm going to tell you what I did. And if you do what I did, I know of nobody who did that. Nobody came back and said, you know what, I built 60 money sites and I sold leads before I generated them, and I took jobs that paid less than what I was worth, and I was disappointed with the results. That has never happened. So, doing what others refuse to do, I think a lot of people try to glorify that. They try to say, oh, I'm going to stand on this pedestal, or I'm going to climb this mountain the first time. A lot of times what other people refuse to do is monotonous, tedious, boring, stuff that's not sexy, that's not, particularly profitable, that doesn't, it's not something you can brag to your spouse about or to your friend. It's not something you can show off to somebody that, you used to work with, but it gets you down the road. It gets you to the point where you now have more skills and influence and income to be able to make that push toward that next place. And for me, I really didn't care about those other things. I knew I needed, this is a brand new thing for me. I'd never done it. I needed to figure out what it meant for me to go through a day building websites and ranking websites. And so I said, well, I know how to work. I'm going to work. I'm gonna watch Greg's stuff. I'm going to figure out how to set websites up, and I'm just going to set up a bunch of websites, and I'm going to learn from that. And there's been, it's 2.5 years now, guys. I've never had one person come up to me and say, you know what, I did exactly what you did, and I'm disappointed it didn't work. That's never happened. But I have had people come up to me and ask me the same question 100 times of, hey, what do you think I should do? Well, I don't know what you should do. I know what I did, and I know what I did worked, and I know if you do it, it will work. You will get to a better place. You will get to a point where you have skills, influence, confidence, and you can write your own paycheck. So for me, the unfortunate thing of, you got to do what others refuse to do, that means you go get dirty. You go put on work boots, you work, you put the time in, you learn the skills, you do stuff that's not impressive to anybody, but you build that skill set that you don't have right now, quite frankly. And you come out the other side in a different place. So that's how I take that question, Kotton. Hopefully it's not too far off track of where you saw it going. But
no, not at all. Guys, I'm just going to finish up on this. It's about that one extra hour of work. It's just about doing that one thing that others refuse to do, because guys, we all have to just comprehend this for a moment. We all have the same information inside of OMG. Why is people like Derek Wasiak's information different? Why is my information different? Why is Fletcher's? Why is Stephen Floyd's? Why do we keep pushing the boundaries of information? Because we do what others refuse to do. We go out there and we test and test and test and test. We put ourselves out there. We do what others refuse to do. And you know what? You need to ask yourself, are you willing to do whatever it takes, what others refuse to do? Because it's literally the 10% or less of OMG that does whatever it takes that we see these income reports for, and the rest we don't. So not only do it, but do it to not prove yourself right, that you're right, this sucks. You're going to do it, and you're going to do it better than anyone else. You're going to do it with 100%, and you're going to be happy about it. It's hard to do. Give it your all. If you're willing to do that, guys, I want you to go over here, and I want you to give me a like hashtag that you will do. Hashtag will do. That's all I want to see, that you will do it, whatever it takes. You have the information. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Are you going to do what others refuse to do? Or are you going to do what everyone else has already done with it, which is, half it, not give it your all? So we got all the will do's right here. But guys, take this seriously. This is really where this information really gets very important. Believe the impossible and be prepared to do what others refuse to do to get to $100,000 a month. And that's what I do. And we're going to be able to expand out a little bit more of this when we hit a couple more traits. So with that, Fletch, I'm going to let you start out. While all these will do's, guys, please, we have almost 400 people on. If you're feeling what we're telling you guys, give us some hashtag will do's here. We want a lot of participation. A lot. There should be at least 150 every time we ask for it. Fletch, I'm going to let you start the next one right here, and it's
Right
going to
on.
be work so hard you're ridiculed.
um, this one's going to be, quite frankly, very personal for me. One of the bigger influences in my life has been my father, and he has worked his entire life in the construction field. He had a rock quarry when we were young in Missouri, and he built that up with his father, with my grandfather, and he wound up a couple bad decisions or whatever, and it wound up going out of business. Um, and it kind of threw our entire life into turmoil in a lot of ways. We wound up losing our house and having to move out of Missouri. We moved west and kind of got a new start, but Dad didn't get to come with us because he had to stay behind and go to work for other people hourly. And at the age of about 35, he went to work hanging sheetrock at $11 an hour and 100 hours a week just to get the bills paid. If anybody's ever hung sheetrock lids, it's not pleasant. It's not a good way to spend your day. That was really something I struggle with, this one, putting it into perspective, because in a lot of ways that hard work is something that if you get stuck in it and you don't think about where it's leading you, it takes you 40 years down the road, and you don't wind up any better off. But if you make some good decisions and you understand that the hours you're putting in are either putting you in a better place, or at least taking care of the people you care about, it's okay to do. And for my dad, he worked that hard to make ends meet, and to get to the point where he now, at the age of 66 years old, he's still working that hard. But he got us all here, and I while I respect him more than any man on earth, I wanted to try to take things differently, and I wanted to take that work ethic but apply it in a way that would improve not only my life but the life of my kids, my family, him. For anybody that was on at OMG Live, they know what I said about really the role Kotton's played in my life, on this hard work ethic, and just being able to take care of him in that way. There are going to be people that don't understand this, because there are a lot of hard workers who wind up beaten and broken down and not ever getting ahead, that don't ever get that edge in life. But at least they can hold their head high and say, what, I did everything I could to get through the day honestly and making money. But in online marketing, especially with the kind of crazy money that we can earn so quickly and so, I don't want to say easily, but almost without effort, once you figure it out, it's not that hard. Pushing through to those next levels, it seems crazy. You get 10 a month passive, you get 20. I remember the first month I made $35,000, and I was like, holy crap! I could just sit back and I could live for 2 years on this, based on what I earned before I joined OMG. But that wasn't what I wanted. I kind of kept track of what I wanted to accomplish, the people I wanted to take care of, and all that kind of thing. And quite frankly, the people around me who asked about why I'd come back to the office after the kids were in bed, or why I get back up out of bed after getting fat baby to sleep, and crank. It's because I wanted to do more. You know, I wanted to take care of people. I wanted to see how far I could push, not push myself, kind of push myself, but like what I could do. And some people don't understand that. They're not cut from the same cloth. The really cool thing about OMG, I think, is that most of us here, we get it, or if you don't get it when you come in, you figure it out pretty quickly, that there are people who sit there and they crank and they work, and maybe there's a few that just get in here because they think it's going to be an easy way to make money, and it is. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a lot of people that don't understand what you do, why you work so hard. That's the nature of being an entrepreneur. I mean, that's the nature of being somebody who has a vision for the life that quite frankly only probably themselves see. Maybe if they're lucky, there's a few other people that see it for themselves or see it for them. Um, and you hold on to them. You hold on to that vision. You hold on to what you want to build. And the rest of the people, yeah, there's even me. I got different personalities at different times. There's times I want to prove somebody wrong. You know, there's yeah. I actually don't talk about this much, but and this is kind of actually in line with this. The only reason I'm going to tell it, but the relationship I was in before I met my wife, I tried to get into online marketing about 4 years before I actually did. And I was sitting there trying to learn this stuff and figure out maybe copywriting or getting traffic on a website. And the girl I was dating, it was late at night. It was 12 p.m. Midnight, and she came by. She's like, you know what? Real businessmen laugh at what you're trying to do right now. This is just a joke. Like, this is some like flash in the pan thing. Like, this makes no sense. Like, my peers laugh at you. Like, go to bed, go to work, and just drop this dream. And I don't ever, I have a great life right now. I've got a great wife. I've got a great, a bunch of friends, that people in OMG. I've got great kids, but yeah, I hang on to those things. And there's times when you need to use them to push yourself. And I'd be willing to bet that almost everybody here has a time in their life where somebody said something to you like that you don't let go of. Quite frankly, you hang on to that, and there's times you need it to push you. So, um, yeah, hopefully that connected with some people. I've talked to enough folks in OMG to know that there's stuff like that in everybody's mind, but
Sure.
wanted to share that a little bit with you guys, and hopefully that'll keep you on track with knowing when you need to put the extra work in.
Sure. Thank you, Fletch. Guys, I want to make this very clear. You can work so hard that you're ridiculed by doing something that you shouldn't even be doing and end up further lost than you've ever been. So it's working so hard in the right direction. You could be a drug dealer and work so hard you're ridiculed. You can go out and kill puppies and work so hard that you're ridiculed for that too. It's the right path is what I want to get. And I want to give a little bit of story, a little bit of context, just so you know what hard work is. About a year ago, and a lot of people I've heard say this, and I like say this because I know how hard he works. Ask, what the hell does Mike Long do? He sends out some emails here or there. So last year, a lot of people don't know it is, but as of right now, we bring new members in. That takes webinars. It takes a lot of stuff. Well, Mike was doing those webinars last year. Mike was adding the members in. Mike was making sure that the payments went through. Mike was doing all this. So I would call Mike, and Mike would be sending me messages, and it'd be 1 a.m., 3 a.m., and then it'd be 8 a.m. and this all through these big launches where we were bringing new members into OMG. And I stopped and I just said, Mike, what's going on, man? I said, are you even sleeping? Mike said, I can't. He said, there's no one else to do this. So here's Mike. running these webinars, 3 hours. It's very stressful. I've taken over that job this year. It's very stressful. You have everyone's weight on your shoulders. Then when Mike would get off, he might have an affiliate chew him out. You didn't do it right. You didn't do this. Oh, you could have done that. Then he's not done. He's got members. Add me to the Facebook group. Add me to this. Add me to that. Then Mike's like, oh my God, the credit card didn't go through. The affiliates calling and screaming and telling him, oh, we had sales that didn't go through. We're not going to get paid. And Mike's got all this on all of his shoulders. And I asked him, I said, when are you sleeping? He said, I've got my alarm set. I nap whenever I get real tired. I only set it for 2 hours. And I wake up and I do it. And Mike did that for 6 weeks. You see, it goes back to doing what others refuse to do, and now working so hard you're ridiculed for it. You see, that's how people break through. That's how they break through. When I first started, I lost a lot of friends. Still have. I've never gained them back. Had people making fun of me. I refused to go out. This was serious for me. When I joined OMG, I made a serious commitment that I was going to take this information and do something with it. There was too many people that were making a lot of money with it for it not to be true. Obviously, where there's smoke, there's fire. I just needed to rub that information together and catch it on fire. I refused to go out. I refused to do anything fun. I woke up at 7 a.m. and I went to bed at 2 a.m. and I did it over and over and over again and didn't do anything. There's a lot of times I think that I lost. During that course of time, I probably could have did a little bit more to help the relationship that I had and a girl that I was in love with. But I chose this, and that ended. And I worked so hard every day. Every day just blended together, and it's still that way. Now, I do take a little bit of time to myself, do travel and other stuff, but man, I work so hard that I'm scared I'm going to lose it. My parents worry about me sometimes. You work so hard. I've got other friends going, when are you going to just chill? Well, the bottom line is, to me, the bank door is open. I'm running in, grabbing cash as fast as I can and going out because I'm waiting for someone to shut the door. Hey, guys, you're in the same position right now. You have, and I keep saying it, the same information and more that I had that got me here. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to, watch that movie before you go to bed when you're only making $6,000, $7,000 a month? Or are you going to dig in and figure out how you can put up 2 more websites? You're going to figure out why your website hasn't gotten number 1. Are you going to sit down and try to map out a new client tactic? You're going to map out a new affiliate site? Or are you going to sit down and research products that you can put up in Amazon? You see, that's how making millions are made. It's what you do in your spare time and how you reward yourself. See, the problem with this country is everyone wants a reward for doing nothing. So stop and think about it. I know this sounds harsh, but do you deserve a reward? Do you deserve to go to the movies? Do you deserve to go out to eat? Or should you be buckling it down, taking it serious? Because everyone that I've heard that's got here had some serious sacrifice stories. And it all goes back to they believed the impossible, they did what others refused to do, and they worked so hard that they were ridiculed with it. So guys, if you're ready to work hard, give me a hashtag just do it. That's right, we're going to steal from Nike. Hashtag just do it. Because guys, that's what it really is, just doing it. Mike never asked for anyone to pat him on the back. And he might even get upset that I even told that story. But, he tells stories on me that I don't want known. So there you go, Mike, we're even. But that's what Mike has done. And that's how people make millions. So when you're wondering, God, why is Mike just goes around and flaunts that Lamborghini? Let me tell you something. He's earned it. He's earned it. How many sleepless nights would you give up? How many nights would you go to bed hungry, tired, almost crying yourself to sleep because you're like, God, I don't know if I can go any harder. Do I have one more minute left in me? And that's what it's all about. So the bottom line is, guys, people can make fun of you. They can do whatever they want. But you know what? Look who's got the last laugh now. No one's laughing at Fletch. No one's laughing at Gregory Ortiz. No one's laughing at me at the moment. And you're going to have to get through a lot of that right now. But you're going to have to work so hard to do it. It's not going to be easy. It's not. And I know it's lonely. There's no one around to see just how hard it is and how hard you're trying to make it work. But I understand. Trust me. If you ever get to a dark moment where you think you're getting ready to quit, just message me. I'll be happy to help you through it. Because, guys, it's breaking through these barriers of just when you think that you just can't go any further. You just haven't got it. It's like, God, I can't break page 1. What do I got to do? Just that. You know what? Go another hour. That's what I did. Figure it out. Watch another video. We've got the answers in there. Dig a little deeper. You'll be surprised what you'll find. So we're going to move it on to the next one, guys. But remember, we're at Believe in the Impossible. Must do what others refuse to do. Work so hard you're ridiculed from it. And the next one is something that's very, very important to me. Expect and anticipate failure and learn from it. And guys, one of the biggest things that you're going to find, especially in internet marketing or working from home or in any goal that you've got, is failure must happen before you can have success. Guys, that's why NFL teams have preseason. That's why they have preseason games, so they can get all the mistakes out of there and learn from them. Learn from them. If you really want to know why Greg Morrison is the backbone and the guardian of OMG, the guy that stands on that wall and guards for us for every Google algorithm, it's because his failures are his smiles. Every time Greg tries a new method that doesn't work for Google, he can cross that off his list and he's closer to finding out what does. So if you really want to know the secret to getting to $100,000 a month, my secret, I've just failed a whole lot faster than you have. I literally wasn't scared to fail. Matter of fact, I put in contingencies for it. When I first started out, I didn't put up one money site, but I put up 2. And if I would have just put up one money site, guess what? The first money site that I put up, guys, is penalized. The second one I put up is kottongrammar.com. So what I'm trying to tell you is expect failure, anticipate it, and learn from it. So guys, look at the big picture. And it all comes down with working hard. That's how Derek Owasiak and Mike Pierce and Stephen Floyd and Joe Marfolio and Greg and Liz and all of them, we fail very fast. We fail fast. You don't know how many ideas I'll get on the phone with any one of us, with either Fletch, Joe, or Gregory, or just anybody, and we'll start talking, and we have sometimes the stupidest ideas, but then we'll have this amazing idea that's just wow. We just know we've got it. We just know it. But you see, we've got to expect and anticipate a lot of horrible ideas before we get to the good ones. So guys, if this is your first week inside of, OMG machines and your first week inside of doing anything, just remember, expect that you're going to stumble and trip. Anticipate it. So if you already know this, what are you going to do about it? And how are you prepared to deal with it? Because you know what? You can get me once with that, but you ain't going to get me twice. And this is the foundation of expect, anticipate failure, and learn from it. Is only get hit by that failure once. Learn from it, adapt, and come back stronger. So, Fletch, I'm going to turn it over to you. That's about all I've got to say on that one.
No, that was incredible, Cotton. I mean, I want to take a half little kind of midway through this and just give Cotton a little bit of appreciation here. This is stuff that's over and above anything that anybody signed up for. You know, everybody signed up for learning SEO, and Cotton sees things that are keeping people from making the big money with SEO, and he fills in the gaps for folks. This is one of those things. This is one of those things that holds people back sometimes. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's a lack of the mindset that it takes to get the knowledge and implement the knowledge that it takes. So, you know, I'll go ahead. I don't do this very often, but just, you know, give a hashtag thanks Cotton in that group. This is, like I said, this is something well over and above, completely, you know, something that he took on, that he came up with these concepts for, that he put a lot of work into. This is not something that he just pulled out of his pants tonight. You know, he sent me kind of a brief overview of this a couple days ago. I know he's been working on it and thinking about it for a long time. It goes a long way. I really know it goes a long way. So, you know, just to kind of play off that, though, failure's part of this. There's a lot of stuff I did wrong. You know, to my knowledge, I still don't know that I've ever had a penalty, but I got an entire bank of money sites hacked. The only income I had when I started, I had 18 different websites on a server, and they all wound up going down, and my income dwindled to nothing about 4 or 5 months into OMG, and that taught me kind of like, okay, well, I want to make sure that you know, I know how to rank, I know how to make money. It was, you know, my wife that said that, hey, you've done this once, you can do this again, so jump back in the game and you know, make sure that this doesn't take you out next time. But you know, failure's part of it. I don't sell every client I talk to. I don't necessarily rank every site that I think is going to be a winner. A lot of the things I come up with for, you know, ways to run my own business, agency, even sometimes training series, I think it might be important or not. They don't have the impact I think they're going to, and not getting yourself tied to that failure. I mean, yeah, ideas fail, but you don't. You keep moving on. It was the idea that just didn't flesh itself out for one reason or another, but you know, you just kind of you press through it. So I think a lot of people in OMG probably got here because their life didn't, you know, there's a couple people that joined early and, you know, their life is just absolutely on track, but a lot of us, things didn't quite work out the way we thought they would. We wound up at a place in life that we were kind of looking for a different way to get ahead and to take care of our people and you know, be able to feel good about what we did that day. We've all had those failures, and they're just part of it. It's what, you know, it's why I could go back and sell construction leads so easily. I understood how tough that was for a construction worker who was a tradesman to sell what they did, you know, and to get a phone call from it or to get a referral. That's just not what they do. You know, they swing a hammer really well. You know, they lay tile and, you know, set grout and all that. You know, they do what they do well. It doesn't mean that they're a failure at marketing. It just means that's not what they're supposed to do. So I learned that, you know, while I could do those trade things better, I could help out people in the construction field because I had failed at a construction business. You know, those failures a lot of times turn into ways you can help people because you can connect with them on that level. So just keep that in mind. You know, if something didn't quite work out, a lot of times in that in that thing that didn't quite work out is a way to connect with a new market or a new prospect or person in a way that you didn't have before. So it's a core concept to what I think is important to get to the level you want to be at. But at being able to anticipate it, I'm getting better at it, but sometimes it still kind of smacks me upside the head. And you just have to roll with it. You just have to learn what you can from it and move forward. So I think there's a lot of people that have a setback, and they decide then that the path they're on is not right, and that's quite frankly probably the furthest thing from the truth. Most people never even follow the path long enough to have a setback. So if you're having setbacks, it means you've gone far enough to get into territory that other people have not sufficiently covered, and that's pretty. If you look at it that way, it's pretty exciting, because that means you're getting ready to kind of break trail and go in some really new areas. So, try to take it for what it's worth and move forward from that.
Great. Thank you, Fletch. Last words on this, guys, is one, remember, you want to hit 6 figures a month, you better learn to fail faster than everyone else. But more important, you need to learn to fail forward. And I get that from a mentor that I read and listen to a lot, John Maxwell. He talks about failing forward. It's not about how you fail, it's about failing it forward. So guys, I want you to give me hashtag fail forward. Fail forward. And I want you to expect and anticipate failure and learn from it. When you fail, fail forward. Learn from it. Get knowledge from it. It's going to make you stronger. It means it's less you have to worry about with anything you do in life, whether it's internet marketing, whether it's relationships, with everything else. Fail forward. Just don't make the same mistake again. So, guys, we're about halfway through. We are halfway through the 8. Believe in the impossible. Must do what others refuse to do. Work so hard you're ridiculed for it. Expect and anticipate failure and learn from it. And we got a lot of people here that are putting in the fail forward. That's right, guys. It's very important. So, guys, if you get it done right, just think about it. You never had any mistakes. When one happens, how are you going to deal with it? When you got a few mistakes, when things that went wrong, and you know how to deal with them, then it doesn't matter when they do. You can correct them quickly. So with that, we're going to move on to the next one. This one right here, very important to me. Successful people have uber successful mentors. That's correct. And, I've said it and I'll say it again. There's several people, notice you'll always hear me say the same thing. When I first came into internet marketing, I pretty much cut out all my friends. Didn't understand it, getting ridiculed for it. There's no point to keep them around. What I did was I surrounded myself with Fletch. Now, I really wasn't around him, but he was always with me. I would listen to all of his Q&A webinars, because back in 2014, when I joined OMG, January 15th, 2014, Fletch and Greg were the only coaches inside of OMG. And they had Q&A webinars. And I would listen to all their replays, and I'd listen to them. And you know what? Fletch, let's just look at it this way. I want you guys to understand how important that this really is. You see, Fletch was at a higher level than me at internet marketing. And Fletch took me by the shirt and raised me up to right under his level. Greg Morrison did that too. I listened to everything. And I've always said, between Mike, Fletch, and Greg, that they're really the foundation of me being here. And what I've done is I've surrounded myself, since that date that I joined OMG in 2014 to now, I've surrounded myself with uber successful people. Becker and I are great friends, to where I'm just talking to all these people. Liz, You got people that are making a lot of money at stuff, and my friends have changed and everything. But where I still go, I look for people to gain inspiration from that are way more successful than I am, and I want to know what they're doing. And I'm like a thief, you see. I steal from them. I take a little bit from them that I know that I can just kind of plug in to what I lack, and I work on it. And that's what gets me to become better. The other lesson that I really want to get in this is a lot of you, especially with internet marketing, there's a lot of idiots out there that claim that they are uber successful. They're not. I promise you that. If they were so fantastic about internet marketing, we would have hunted them down like animals and made them a coach inside of OMG. Trust me. But guys, what I want you to understand about leadership is there's something that's called the law of the lid. And if my leadership skills, let's say that my leadership skills are at an 8, guess what? That means that you will never be able to achieve higher than an 8. You'll only be at a 7, which means that if you want to leap past me, either one, you're going to have to find someone that's got a 9 to get the information to get past me, or get someone with a 10. Now, I hope that makes sense. So, what I want you to do is before you go out and seek or pay for this cheap coaching that's $7 or $30 or $20, or I'm going to teach you how to build your email list for $15, guys, do some investigation. Make sure that they've been there and they've done that. Now you go there and you do that. Is there any smoke where there's fire at? No, you're wasting your money. Just because someone posted up an income report doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't. So you got to ask yourself, are you surrounding yourself with uber successful mentors? Are you bothering them? Do you have someone that you know in your personal life that's crazy successful? And can they even give you a few tips about anything? Guys, it's all about being a thief, stealing the best traits from people that match you, that you lack, and just putting them into place and building a stronger foundation. But be careful who you follow. There's a lot of false prophets out there that claim they're the uber successful mentors. Yet they don't have the supercars, they don't have the super watches. They claim they have income reports. They're not living very well. They're complaining about, they're selling little cheap products and they're doing other stuff. Just get a successful mentor. This is going to be the most important thing you have. And because you're an OMG, you're in the right place. You've got 2 of them for sure, Fletch, Greg, and I can personally vouch for, Gregory Ortiz and Stephen Floyd, Joe Marfolio and Liz, and even a lot of other ones. If you want to go to Amazon, you got Bitler, you got SmackDow, you got John Gill. There's a lot of other talented people also out there that are doing amazing at SEO. So what I'm saying is, guys, make sure that your mentor is uber successful, because it's ultimately a waste of your time if your internet skill is a 2 and they're a 4, because they can only take you up 1 point, and then you're just wasted your time when you could have just went to someone that's a 9 and they could have slungshot you up to a 7 in literally half the time, because they are. So, guys, before I turn it over to Fletch, just I'd like want to see if that made sense to people. Just give me a hashtag makes sense, if that makes sense. I mean, I want to see it if like that makes sense, because I see a lot of you guys in OMG in groups that you shouldn't be in seriously, a lot of groups that you shouldn't be in, listening to a lot of people that you shouldn't be. I'm everywhere, I see everything. And it breaks my heart, because you truly believe that you're getting the right information when they're not. They're rookies. They're guys that are literally trying to leech off of other members and other Facebook groups. And you give them money. You give them money and you keep their lies going. So what I want to say is, guys, is please, before you do it, guys, successful people have uber successful mentors. Fletch, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Yeah, I'm going to keep this one pretty quick and simple. Um, Frankly, until I joined OMG, there was a pretty massive problem with this in my life. And it was that there was no one in my life I had ever met who was wealthy that I actually liked and respected. Small town I was born in Missouri. The people who had money were crooks, had stolen or controlled nefarious methods of obtaining wealth, and a lot of those had pretty serious repercussions on my family. Um, I had a very negative mindset toward money and wealth, and just really almost had this preconceived notion that folks who were doing well financially had somehow taken advantage of other people, or were just quite frankly not good people. And quite until I came into contact with OMG, and for the most part I give people the benefit of the doubt. I trust them a long time. I try to see if there's something else going on that I'm not aware of, but it takes me a long time to really trust folks. And when I joined, there were videos from Mike and Greg. I know for people who joined recently, there's like all this crazy amounts of material and there's a lot of material from other people who have found success or they want to share. But when I got involved, there were videos in OMG membership from two people only, and those were Mike and Greg. And while I'd seen Mike on a webinar, and I'd seen some coaching and training videos from Greg, it took me a while to not only really believe that what they were training was true, it would work. I tried it, and I made sure it worked. But as far as just people go, it took me a while to trust them, and to really say this is somebody that when they tell me to do something, I can just go ahead and take action on it, and my life's going to be better based on that action. And I really I'm certainly not trying to cast all the rest of the people who have come on board since then in that same light, but I think that OMG has really drawn those kinds of people to it, and it's just really nice to be surrounded by people that are really in this for the right reasons, because they want other folks to be successful. They realize that they need to be trustworthy, they need to consider other people, they need to make sure that what they're teaching is replicatable and it works. And that's really the biggest reason why I am in other groups, just like Kotton said. we see a lot of things, guys. We know, we get pretty familiar with the names in OMG, and we know folks that are in other groups that just quite frankly are led by folks that don't have that same concept. They don't quite consider the success of the people that join the membership as their primary concern. And we just want the best for everybody here. And for me, being able to really try to live up to the mentorship that Greg and Mike and really David, even behind the scenes, put in place, even before I joined, is something that I really try to live up to, and I hope everybody else here does too. But just in the 2.5 or 3 years since I've been on board, this place is really full of people that are doing very, very well in life. They're happy, they're successful, they're peaceful, they want to give back, and there's only so many hours in the day. There's only so many things you can learn. I quite frankly would rather spend my time learning from folks that seem to care about other people and their success, and they take their gratitude in the success of the members. So that's kind of about all I have to say about that.
Sure. Let's follow up with it and say, there's a really good question that was asked on there. It is, what are your tips for like finding an uber successful mentor? Guys, you really have all the information that you need to be successful about online marketing from a technical standpoint inside of OMG. There's some other things that you might need to fill in the gaps with. Obviously, we have, told you who these SEO technical superstars are, like Derek Wasiak, Mike Pierce, Greg Light Morse and other people. Go straight to the horse's mouth. Get that information from them. And these are guys that are very, very giving people. They want to help people. And generally what you see is these guys that are very uber successful, they're not posting every single day. Look at me, look at me. Go over here. Look, I started a group over here. Look over here. I help this person. Look over here. They're not asking you to, hey, look, if I help you, will you post about it in OMG? Or will you post about it in this group? Things like that, guys. Use your head. Use your head. We've already told you how to do that. But with that, guys, my best advice to you is the main thing, because you've got all the technical aspect is you need mindset information. That's why we did this webinar. Guys, look for people that resonate with you. Uber successful people. I get a lot of inspiration from Tony Robbins, from John Maxwell, from a lot of other authors, and I read books a lot. When I need inspiration, there's a lot of go-to books that I read over and over again, and it kind of just makes me a better person. So there's a lot of people and a lot of different paths that you can learn from. I got inspired today, and I posted it in one of my private assimilation groups about a rock star, Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. What he said inspired me. So you can find inspiration anywhere. Just look for it in people that are uber successful. People that are doing over $100,000 a month, people that have been there, done that, that have already proven through income reports that they're leading people, and not just a few income reports. Remember, I'm going to keep coming back to this. Anyone can get struck by lightning, but are they harnessing it? Can they call that lightning down from the sky at will? How many income reports have you seen from these people before you decide to follow? How many people have you seen vouch for them openly without them begging for it? This is what I'm talking about. So we're not going to spend a lot more time on this, but that's how to go out. Just fill your mind and follow people that are uber successful. Pick up a Mark Cuban book. Read his autobiography. I read the autobiography of Arnold Schwarzenegger. I found that to be very inspirational for me. You can find inspiration in all of these uber successful people. And that's literally what it's all about. So, we're just going to tie this up as we do with everyone, guys. If you are going to make a commitment to go out and study someone that's uber successful, just give me #mentor. It doesn't have to be anyone that you know personally. It can be someone that's an author of a book. It could be Charles Bronson, could be Warren Buffett, could be a former president. You might be inspired by them. Guys, it takes a lot of smart and intel to become a president. I've read Bill Clinton's autobiography, and I'm a Republican. I found a lot of insight. From reading Bill Clinton's autobiography, he's literally, to me, one of the smartest people that I think's living today. If you read his autobiography, it's mind blowing when you start digging down about some of this sort of stuff. Get inspired by these uber crazy successful people. You'll be able to pull ideas. You'll be able to pull lifestyle ideas. You'll be able to get little hacks and traits, and that can come with anything. There's uber mentors in different niches. Might be fitness, health. Go with someone that's doing that, if that's where you want to get your information from. But get it at the top of the food chain where there's enough people screaming from the mountains, this guy, this girl, this woman is for real, and get your information from there. So we will move on to the next one. Treat satisfaction as the enemy. Fletch, I'll let you start this one out.
Cotton, I got to be honest with you. This one was the one on the list that, while I understood it was huge as a block for getting people to really high income levels, has been something that I really vacillated with. I went back and forth with my whole life in a lot of ways. From early in my life when I was an athlete, of just trying to enjoy the experience of being alive, and then for a long time just being all over the board, and then quite recently with the family that I wanted to start and take care of. Um, I think the most important thing to take away from this is to separate your satisfaction with like income levels with the peace you feel about the life you're living. And when you can do that and you can say, hey, there's so much more I can do, but I'm good with who I am and I'm going to keep moving forward, I think all of the power in the world is in this one. This is where everything lies. When you refuse to stand still, when you are present and you're peaceful and you're able to just really embody who you are and what you contribute to the world at every given second, while growing, while moving forward, while creating more value and connecting with more people, you can do anything in the world you want. And so this, like I said, this one was the one on this list that it took me a while to really wrap my brain around, not just how I felt about it, but that I knew there was so much value here, but I wanted to make sure that people really harnessed it in the right way, because the last thing I want people to do is to wind up at $100,000 a month and miserable. And it sounds stupid, maybe, especially if you're just starting out or if you're not there or if you've had challenges, but getting to that level, if you just follow what is covered here, it will happen. But I want it to happen in the right way for people. And being good with who you are while continuing to grow, I think is that just really powerful paradox in life that we really need to pay attention to each and every day. So really, really, really pay attention to what this means in a very specific way, which is I'm satisfied with how much I've contributed today. Not feeling bad about it, not, disparaging feelings or, feeling guilty or anything like that, but just saying, you know what, tomorrow I can do more. While at the same time knowing that, you're doing well, you're contributing enough, that you're not going to be broke tomorrow, all that kind of thing. Like I'm not speaking for Kotton here, but I've heard him say things like this. I've heard a lot of the people in the group who are doing big numbers, like it chases you. You feel like you're trying to outrun that being broke and being like chased by creditors or those friggin' haunting voices from your past that are telling you you're not good enough. And those are part of what drives you. But the last thing I want to have happen is for people to earn this money and to give this much value and to not be happy with it. So really, this is something to pay a lot of attention to, people. I've experienced it personally. It's this weird thing where, the bigger these numbers get, the bigger the responsibility feels. You can get stressed out, but at the same time, if you don't harness it, if you don't make use of it, you can't grow. So, what Kotton talked about earlier about getting struck by lightning once or harnessing that lightning, I think that's very applicable on this one as well. You really need to figure out how to harness these emotions. And these emotions are going to drive you. They're going to help you move forward. They're going to help you work hard. But you also need to come to grips with the fact that you are who you are, and if you're better than you were yesterday, you should be pleased. You should sleep well. You should get a good night's rest. You should wake up with a smile. All that kind of thing. So, for me, it's not all about the drive. The drive has to be there. That's what keeps us going each and every day. But I also want every time I meet somebody from OMG, the first thing that gets exchanged is a smile, because we're both better off than before, we worked with each other. So that's what I have to say about satisfaction as an enemy.
Great. Thank you. For me, this is a really, really, really big one. The reason is that I had eked by for decades, listening to people tell me that I was talented, listening to people tell me that I was going to be something more than what I was, but yet I wasn't, because I was satisfied with where I was. I wasn't missing any meals. I had a roof over my head. And everything was okay. I had a car to drive. I had money in my pocket. I just like the normal American does, but something just didn't feel right inside me. It's like scratching at my soul. And I couldn't figure out what it was. I knew that it just always felt like, and I'm not saying this because I think I'm better than anyone, that I was always destined for something bigger. And I think we all feel that, or at least we all want to believe that that's the case. And it never hit home any harder that I was just a mediocre guy getting by. And, I wasn't doing bad. I was making $250,000 a year, but it just didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. So if you know my story, you know that I took off a year to take care of my grandmother. That they gave her a year to live. It's very close with her. Love her more still and think about her every day. On her deathbed, she only wanted to talk to my father and myself. And her last words to me was, "I worry about you." Barely could get it out. "I worry about you." And it was like a knife through my heart. What she had watched up to that point in my life was I treated satisfaction as my friend, not my enemy. She worried on her deathbed that I would become another number in society, when she knew that I was destined for more. And that hurt a lot. That's what woke me up, you see, because I refuse to treat satisfaction as my friend. It's so easy to do. It's so easy to get comfortable, come home, watch TV, do like everyone else, and just, I'm not, that's not built in my DNA. If it's in yours, there's nothing wrong with that. But it's never been built in my DNA. And when she said that, I still hear it to this day. And it cuts hard, because she died knowing that I was a mediocre man, that I was average, that satisfaction was my friend. And that hurts. My grandmother left me a sum of money. She left me $50,000. And I took that money and I was off on a mission to seek for a way to turn that $50,000 into millions, to make her proud. That if she looked down and know that she hadn't wasted her money on a second chance for me. And every day that I wake up, the last thing that I want to do is just be like everyone else. Satisfaction is my enemy. And I've let down so many people that seen potential in me that I just was too lazy to tap into because it would have been too much work. How many times have you heard someone say, "Oh, I don't want that job. It's too much responsibility. Oh, I don't want to do that. It just seems too hard. I'd rather be comfortable over here." I've learned not to be that way. And if you want to hit $100,000 a month, you better learn to treat being mediocre as your enemy. You better learn to treat satisfaction as your enemy. The last thing I want for you is to have a loved one on their deathbed look at you and wonder what's going to become of you because you've been eking by your whole life. So this is why this means everything to me, because I let my grandmother die knowing that I treated satisfaction as my friend. Don't let that happen to you. You have the information inside of OMG. You have everything to turn it around. Today's the start of a new day. You can make it start tomorrow and never look back at the past and create a new life for yourself. Change who you are. It's as simple as saying it, doing it, and moving forward. But don't waste the time like I have. Guys, I've wasted half of my life realizing what a failure I was before I woke up. We don't have a lot of time. That's one thing that we can never get back. We can always get more money. We can always buy more things, but we can't get more time. Don't waste it. Don't waste it being mediocre. Don't waste it being best friends with satisfaction. As of today, choose for satisfaction to be your enemy. Now, if you're going to make a commitment today, give me hashtag satisfaction enemy. I want you to literally make it your enemy and not be in the same position that I was. So I'll wait for some of these to come in. And guys, this is a very, very, very important one to me. And we'll just leave it at that. We'll close it down at that. So we will see him coming in here a little bit, give you guys a chance to get caught up, but we'll do a quick recap. We have literally 2 more habits to go. One of them is believe in the impossible. Number 2, you must do what others refuse to do. Number 3, work so hard you're ridiculed for it. Number 4, anticipate and expect failure and learn from it. Number 5, successful people have uber successful mentors. And number 6, treat satisfaction as the enemy. So we're going to move on to number 7. Number 7 is also very, very, very important to me. Always be looking for the next level. Always. Guys, you'll hear it. You'll hear me say it consistently. Fletch can vouch for it. Anyone that knows me very well. What are you going for? What's that? I've always got a goal. I've always got a target in sight. Always looking for the next level. And it all comes down to I believe that I can get to that next level. I'm going to do what others refuse to do the next level. I'm going to work so hard to get to that next level that you're going to hate me for it. I've already planned out anticipated failures and created roadmaps around it. And I've already got people to motivate me along the way with my mentors. And I'm going to do it better than anyone else. So I'm not going to be average at it. But guys, if you're not consistently asking, what's the next level? Guys, it's what I'm doing at the very moment of my life. Kotton, what's the next level? The next level is $1 million a month. I've already got all of it laid out. I've already showed it to Fletch and Joe. I'd guarantee you that, Fletch, do you doubt that I'll hit $1 million a month with the plan that I've showed you?
I don't doubt it at all, Kotton.
Right. So, guys, what you have to do is you look for the next level. Then you got to plan for how you're going to build up to that level. I've spent the last 4 or 5 months building to get to that level. I showed Fletch that level, and Fletch can talk about it when he takes over with it. Fletch went out and done it, and Fletch came back and said, holy crap, I've got to build another foundation with this to get this built back up so I can get to $1 million a month. And Fletch will get to $1 million a month too, without a shadow of a doubt. So what you're doing is, guys, sometimes building and knowing to get to that next level, you've got to build an infrastructure before you can even handle that next level. Sometimes it takes months to build it. Sometimes it takes days. Sometimes it's just there. But guys, if you're not always looking for what the next level is, what the next goal is, how far can you go, what can you do? I've always said, hey, look, there's one city. Oh, let me take another city. Hey, oh my God, I've crossed 100 clients. Let's go for 125. There's the next goal. There's the next level. Hey, I'm at 600,000 a month. Hey, where's 700,000 at? Where's that at? Oh, it's right over there. Come here. I want to talk to you. That's how my mind works. I'm consistently building and building and building to get to that foundation. Your mind needs to work that way, and that's how billionaires' minds work. I've read enough about them. I've read enough about other people. They're always looking to the next level. If you listen to Gregory Ortiz, I talk to him all the time. Gregory Ortiz is constantly looking for the next level. He's like literally a rat just sniffing out cheese. He's on it everywhere. Here's what I'm going to build. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I'm going to do this. Here's what I'm going to do there. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit that. I'm going to hit this. And you know what? I love that about him because he's always going for the next level, wanting to know what's next, what's next, what's next. Guys, how many times have you sat around and asked, what's next? But you see, if you're going to ask what's next, you're going to have to put in the traits before it. You're going to have to put in the work. You're going to have to expect failure. And you're going to have to treat satisfaction as the enemy to get it done. Now, you've got the right information. And if you get stuck, you've got the right mentors around you with the people that are in OMG to get past it. So the thing of it is, are you asking what the next level is? Are you? Seriously. If you're not, start asking what the next level is. What's next? Hey, and you know what? It can be small. You don't have to start big. It's a habit. That's what we're talking about. The 8 habits of 6 figures a month. It's a habit. Say, if you're just starting OMG, I am going to do 2 hours a day on videos. Next week, I'm bumping it up to 3, 4 hours. Make a commitment. Go next level. Say, you know what? I'd like put up 2 sites this week. I'm going 4 sites next week. I'm going to do 4 sites every week. Always be going for another level. Always be climbing the ladder. Always. How can you push the boundaries of what you're doing? You see, that's what people making billions do. What's the next level? I want to know. Guys, I'm even thinking about what my level is past $1 million a month. What's the next level? You know what it is? I have an end game to all of this, and it is. I've already talked to Mike and David about it. OMG will be $1 billion company, and I'm saying it to everyone right now, so it's recorded. It will be $1 billion company. I believe it. I'm gonna do what others refuse to do to get it there. You can ridicule me while I get there, but I don't care. I've already mapped out everything for failure, and I'm gonna learn from it. Even if I fail, I'm gonna go faster than ever. I've already got successful, uber successful people that can help me along the way, and I'll be damned if I'm gonna mediocre my way there. But OMG will be $1 billion company. That's always looking for the next level. Always. Fletcher, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, I don't know where I go from there, but I'll kind of start in on really my take on this, Kotton, and it comes back to kind of some of the notes you put together for this this session tonight, which is, a lot of times people, like billionaire level especially, are not really looking for a way to do it a little bit better than somebody else. They're looking in completely different directions. And not only do you have to sometimes, compete and win. That's what SEO is about, really. SEO is it's not really so much about the algorithm. It's being better at competition than whoever else is in your keyword, whoever else is in your niche or your industry. So, for me, what it comes down to a lot of times is getting to that next level means looking in different directions. That's one of the reasons that, I came in, I for the most part, I took material other people had created, and I took it upon myself to to learn it well enough that I felt I could teach it. That was kind of my role. My major role in OMG was teaching other people's material. But that only goes so far. That doesn't really take us to the next level as OMG. I wanted to find something else that we could really make our own and have OMG be that much better off because of. It's one of the reasons that I really looked at the semantic web and scheme and all that kind of thing, and that's the one thing I want to bring to OMG next year that we really haven't had up to this point. It's a brand new thing. It takes us to a whole new level. It's something I've been testing on my big websites, and we're getting massive increases in rankings because of it. I want to keep contributing those kinds of things to the group, and it's one of the ways that I'm not necessarily looking at just, hey, I've got 5 more links than my competition. It's that I beat them before I started. I had a foundation that was so ridiculously solid that when I started building links, everything just blew up, and they're not even on the same playing field as me anymore. And I think that's one of the things that Kotton wants to get at here. It's one of the things I want to make sure comes across is that winning by a slim margin is still winning. But when you show up and before the gun even sounds that you've won this race, you still put the work and you still run it as hard as you can, but you are just so much better off prepared. You prepared in different ways. You've done more than everybody else. You are already looking for the next level before you even start, before you get in that game. And for most of the people here that I've witnessed that have done truly extraordinary things, like they've made money in ways that were not defined in the training. They've made money at levels that were not previously recorded or laid out instructionally. Kotton, for one, is the biggest example. To my knowledge, I don't know that anybody really had made money as an SEO agency in excess of, hell, if I know anybody that made 20 or 30,000 a month, and now he's sitting at 20 times that. That's not because he's better at SEO. It's because he's looking at it differently than everybody else. And when you start to shift your thinking to see those angles, it opens up a whole new world, a whole new channel of making money on a whole new level. And for me, one of the things that SEO does, it's a skill set that's rare. There's hardly anybody in the world that knows it. And because of that, you can apply it to a bunch of different things. You can apply it to real estate. You can apply it to software as a solution. You can apply it to local business consulting. You can apply it to marketing. You can apply it to your own info product. You can apply it to e-commerce. And it's a complete game changer. It's not something that incrementally makes you better. It doesn't save you 5% on your margin, which means you can make a little bit more than your competition and win. It's something that is a complete game changer. It's like bringing a cannon onto a battlefield with cavalry. You are just on a whole different playing field. And so you already have that just by being here. But thinking about what you can do with that technology, with that skill set, that's what's really going to set you apart even within OMG. So until you get to the point where, okay, I got cash flow and things are working, and now let me really think about what I can do to really take this to the next level, that's where you get to 100,000 a month, okay? And the potential's there. I mean, it's been proven. There are many of us, I won't say many, but there are enough of us who started with relatively nothing when we got into OMG that are now in excess of that, that you can't say that's not a potential. What you have to do is to really harness that lightning and say, what am I going to do with this? I have all this power. What am I going to do with this? And so, for me, looking for that next level is about that. It's about not just being better than your competition, but by looking at the game differently.
Absolutely, Fletch. And matter of fact, I want to go ahead and let's see. I posted this on here. I want to just kind of work on what you just said. Becoming successful means that you outperform everyone else at what you're doing, right? No. It often means you shouldn't even be playing their game. Billionaires aren't better than others. They're doing something different than others. Very few people achieve success by accident. It's actually planned and a lot of hard work. What that is guys, is sometimes you want me to give you the secret to how Derek is so good, to how Mike Pierce is so good, Fletch and everyone else. Simply, when everyone's running in one direction, we're going in an entirely different direction. What's next? What's the next level? That's it. That's all that's on people's mind. You know, talking to Derek, that's always on Derek's mind. What's the next level? What's the next way to rank? How can I rank this in a different way? How can I do this? That's the mindset that you got to get going. So, guys, this hashtag I'm going to take into all of 2016. You really need to sit home, guys. Hashtag next level. Guys, if you're not asking what the next level is, you're cheating yourself. You're cheating yourself and you're not planning out your goals. You're not planning out anything. Remember, it isn't generally about being as good as everyone else. It's about playing a whole different game and setting levels, looking ahead, future pacing yourself and seeing where you're at. So let's do hashtag next level, guys. We got almost 400 people on here. I want to see this thing get lit up with hashtag next level because, guys, that's where we're going to go in 2016. I want to take you to the next level. I want you to go to the next level. I want you to think about what your next level is. Now, we're going to recap everything right now before we go to the very last of 8, and then we're going to wrap it up. Believe in the impossible. You must do what others refuse to do. Work so hard you're ridiculed for it. Expect and anticipate failure and learn from it. Successful people have uber successful mentors. Treat satisfaction as the enemy. Always be looking for the next level. Number 8, and the final one is this. And it's so true. Never stop practicing, learning, researching, and growing. And guys, this almost encompasses everything in one. And guys, this is so powerful because I embrace this. This is in my DNA. I don't ever want to be happy with where I'm at. You know, going back to, treating satisfaction as the enemy, there's a lot of people that I've watched in like OMG that you've seen their income reports. I'm not going to name any names. They'll be at 40,000, 50,000 a month and you'll hear about it. They get struck by lightning and they get complacent because they stop practicing, they stop learning, they stop researching, and they stop growing. And they made satisfaction their best friend. Oh, I got a little bit of money. Let's like take a victory month. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. You see, I'm scared this door is going to close. So I'm consistently up late, scratching my head, trying to think of different ways, practicing, learning, researching, growing. And you got to ask yourself, are you doing that in every level of your life? Every level. I'm a firm believer that everything can be done better. I actually learned this from Heather Kreider. And it really made me think a lot. And she said, could you have handled that situation better? Well, I can always have done it better. Every situation can always be handled better. And I started to use that in every aspect of my life. Closing clients, SEO, running my agency, with friends, with relationships, with how I answer to people, with everything. Could I have handled it better? And the answer is yes. And it all comes down to because you don't ever stop learning and researching and growing. You can always be a better man. You can always be a better woman. It's your choice. If you're not growing, you're dying. So, what are you doing with your life? Have you taken the time out to invest in yourself? Obviously, you've invested yourself because you're here inside of OMG, but what are you doing with it? Are you still practicing it daily, guys? If you believe that some of the greatest football teams, basketball teams, baseball teams, that after they win a championship, that they can take a victory month off, come back and beat another team that's been practicing straight through? They can't. They can't. You see, I never stopped practicing SEO every day. I never stopped trying to improve my agency every day. What's weird is I had a long time away from home twice this year. Once I went from LA to the Assimilation Tour into Las Vegas, and then OMG Live, I was gone for almost 11 days. And, you get out of touch in a while. You're not around your house. You're not around your things. You're not practicing like you should. You're spending time doing other stuff. Man, when I got home, I like felt a little rusty. I was like, man, I could lose it this quick. If you're out of digital marketing and internet marketing for literally 6 to 8 weeks, you can be left behind. That's why. If you want to get that six figures, you want that 100,000 a month, never stop practicing, learning, researching, growing. Now, there's a learning part of it, but let's get into the research. Guys, that's what makes great SEOs great. Guys, what does Greg Morrison do? Research, 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 research. He's practicing his SEO every day, like Michael Jordan would, taking shots, taking shots. As you've heard about Jerry Rice, one of the greatest receivers in the world, he would be out taking passes every day before his teammate got there. Why do you do it? They ask. Why? Because I want to be better than everyone else. So you got to make the commitment to keep practicing, keep learning and researching. Then you'll keep growing. And that's a commitment. It's a hard commitment. And it's a very important part of the 8 habits. How much research have you done? Have you sat down and really tried to write down ways to get clients or ways to build the best affiliate site and then done it and just created something better than anyone else? Or do you just wait for, other people to come up with it for you? Because I can tell you this, all of us don't wait for anyone to come up with it. We come up with it ourselves because we're researching and we're getting data and we're coming back. And this is one of the reasons why you'll see OMGers just rise like a rising star. You'll see them in Mike's dispatch email. Oh, John Doe, look, he's 25,000 a month. And before you know it, you see their name blacked out in the Facebook group 3 months later because they couldn't make their OMG payment. You want to know why? It's this habit right here. Because they stop practicing, they stop learning, stop researching, they stop growing. That's not for you. Guys, internet marketing is very hard to keep the pace up with this sort of money. You've got to be on the cutting edge of it all the time. If you turn your back on it for a little bit, she's a very vindictive girlfriend. She will turn on you quick. So remember this. If you're wanting to hit 6 figures a month in online marketing, this is the foundation of what, once you get there, even if you've got 25,000 a month or 30,000 a month, guys, believe that you can hit 100,000. Do the work that no one else is going to do. Work so hard. Your family and everyone hates you. Expect failure, but I know you're going to learn from it. Fill your mind up with successful mentors. Treat satisfaction as the enemy. Always ask yourself what the next level is, and for God's sakes, never stop practicing, learning, or researching, or growing. Fletch, it's all you.
Honestly, Cotton, I'm not sure I can say anything you didn't cover on that last point. I mean, And maybe the best I can do is give you a little bit of perspective on my last week. I've been doing this for I guess quite a while compared to probably most of the people on this webinar. I updated every single page on my agency website. I built another agency website. I spent probably 10 to 12 hours researching schema, which is something I've been working on for over a year now, and the application that we could, use it in an SEO mindset, and then a business model that I've been working on really hatching, which has taken a lot more work and time than I ever realized it would. But I think the promise is there, for me to have something that's quite passive and several $100,000 a year. It's something I've been working on for over a year now. That's what I did this week, and it's Wednesday. So, pardon me. I'm not, trying to get at like, oh, this is a competition or anything like that, but the people who are in this they're doing well are working on it. They're spending time in it. They're watching it. They're learning from people who have proven track records, who who care about certain things enough to put the work and the time in to make them work out. Kotton does, Greg does, Ortiz does, Marfolio does. Most of the core group here. We talked about Mike earlier. How long, he really had to carry things in ways that he was not really where he wanted to be naturally, but he just had to do what he had to do. There's nobody else to do this. In all likelihood, in your own life, there's nobody else that's going to do this for you. You are going to have to be the person who does it, who gets yourself in a better situation financially, who evolves your understanding of SEO, of online marketing, of sales, of business. Somebody's not going to do that for you. We're going to help. We're here to offer training and support when you need it, but you have to do it yourself. And this last point that Kotton has here, if you took this and it did and did nothing but this, your life is going to be better. Your income is going to grow. You're going to have breakthroughs. You're going to be better off. And when you combine this with all the rest of them, there is nothing but inevitable success. So, like I said, it's not a competition, but it is. There's only one number one for a keyword, any given keyword. There's one number one, and you're either that number one or you're not. That's a competition. But also at the end of the day, all you need to do is work on improving. And if you continue to improve, you're going to have enough number ones to make it all work out. So, keep that kind of balance, that paradox in play in your own minds as you kind of, hopefully carry this forward and put it into practice in your own life. I know this is the last point. Kotton, I'm sure, has maybe a few things to say in a wrap up here, but this one's key, folks. Just continue to pay attention, continue to grow, keep researching and learning. I learn new things every day. I learn new things from people who are not SEO experts, but maybe uncovered this one crazy little. I ran into some random person in Starbucks the other day who had a Google, rich text answer. It shows up above even the paid ads, and I showed him a plugin that cost $40, and he thought it was expensive. Like, there are people out there who they know things that they stumble across, but they haven't put it all together. Learn from them. Keep your minds open, but also don't follow their path if they don't necessarily have the life you want. So, yeah,
Sure.
Kotton,
Sure.
you can
Absolutely.
take things from there.
Absolutely. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. This is something that Fletch and I feel really passionate about. I feel that technical information, along with mindset, is very, very, very cohesive. If you don't have the right mind frame, then it doesn't matter what you do with the information. You have the information. Fletch and I are not better than anyone else. We just have a stronger mindset, if you really want to know. We have a sharpened mindset. We're continuing to practice, learn, research, and grow. And guys, I spend a good portion of my time sharpening my mind, motivating myself, finding different ways to different outlooks on different things, talking to people. Always, as Fletch said, I'm the biggest thief in the world. I take the best that I hear from others and I plug it into myself. And hopefully, I build a better person. All we wanted to do with this webinar is to inspire you to know that you're in the right place. You have the right information. All you need to do is just rewire some of these. And maybe you do well with all of these 8 habits. Maybe one of these habits that you can take and plug them into your life right now and make a big, big, big difference and double your income. But guys, I really am going to wrap up with that. Guys, if you have enjoyed this webinar, I want you to do this. I don't want any hashtags. I want you to put a post inside the group. If you've been moved, if you'd like to keep these OMG Mindset webinars going, Fletch and I enjoy doing them. Actually, I think Fletch and I are just as good as these motivational webinars, sometimes than we can at SEO. I enjoy them. I enjoy preparing for them because what it does is it gives me an excuse to dig in deep to find out ways about myself that I need to change. So when I have to prepare for these, I dig in deep. I literally was going through books and books and books and ideas and writing stuff for hours and hours to come up with this. And it literally helped me as a person. So if you've enjoyed this webinar, guys, please, all we ask is let us know. Either you can send a personal message to myself or Fletch, put it in the group separately about how this has moved you, about how you are going to do that. And then what we'll do is right here, guys, is I just want you to give me a hashtag inside this group, hashtag 8 habits to close everything out. And what we'll do is we will just wrap it up from here. So guys, it's been a pleasure. Assimilation will be back second week of January. There'll be some webinar of some point that maybe I might get to between now and Christmas. If not, please catch Hot Seat tomorrow with Joe. Fletch has got his webinar on Sunday. Greg's on Monday. Fletch, I'll let you say any last words and we will close it out.
God, you rock, man. Thank you so much for doing this. I agree with Kotton. I think that the technical knowledge is all here. The only variable really is getting to, doing it. And I think Kotton very astutely has identified that as a variable that we can help influence. And when Kotton sent this over to me the other night at 10:30, I wake up early. I work early. I tend to get to bed early, but my phone lit up and I read it, and quite frankly, it woke me up because while I'm doing well and I'm growing, there were some things here that I really had to look at my own life and come to grips with and figure out whether I was addressing them the right way. This is not something that Kotton and I necessarily, we want to help all of us experience together, and that includes Kotton and I. We look at this stuff in our own life, in our own business. We take this seriously. This is the reason that Kotton put this together. It's the things he feels are most important in his own life and his own business. And I just really want to thank him for putting this out there, because I know that I've grown having to look at these things and also help bring them to the kind of the group in general, and let other people think about how they apply to their business or their online marketing career. So thank you very much, Kotton. You rock, man. You're a good friend, brother, and I appreciate every time I get a chance to come live with you, man.
Thank you, man. Love you too, Fletch. See you guys soon.